Hello, welcome to Revelator Alpha. It's a radio podcast thing, don't you know? And today's show is, I suppose it's largely going to be talking about the brand new Harley Davidson X500 that's just been released in China. We're going to dig into it. We're going to try and translate the specs on the hoof, as it were. So we're going to dig into that. But first of all, before we get into any of that, I am transmitting here on YouTube, but also on Twitch. You can support the channel through all the socials and via Patreon as well. I did have a little glitch with Patreon the last couple of weeks. I've been uploading things to there, but apparently they've just been stalling in the background. So I've fixed the problem there, so you get an exclusive content there now and before it's released elsewhere. You can help support just by PayPal as well. But all the socials, a lot of the short videos are going on directly to the socials now as well. If you look on the chat, you can just leave your comments, let us know what you're thinking and all that kind of stuff and what you think about this, anything that I'm discussing in the show today. But first of all, let's just get into the news, shall we? Okay. So one of the first things that I want to talk about really on the news, as it were, if I can just bring this up here. Again, it's the Harley Davidson theme story. This comes from Visor down here in the UK, and they're basically saying this is where it's a little bit confusing. Okay, it said that new patent filings show Harley Davidson CVO Street Glide 121, so 121 cubic inch, right? For 2024 release. I'm not sure if they've got this 100% right here. So the 2024 Harley Davidson CVO Street Glide 121. Now this is the interesting thing. If you remember a few weeks ago, maybe even less than that, I showed some footage, really early footage, photos of the CVOs with a 121 engine, and it was a newly designed fairing and other bits for the Road Glide and the Street Glide. However, the problem is that was all for this year. This is coming out this year. This is what I've been led to believe. Now they're saying it's actually for 2024. So I'm a little bit confused here. But let's just say that they've only got the Street Glide here. But hey, what about the Road Glide, right? This is a CVO Street Glide and Road Glide. But this has got the 121. So start at the front. The fairing is updated to include a new, more square headlight. In comparison to the round light found on the current Street Glide. The central light is also flanked by strip LEDs which extend to the outer part of the front fairing. Now, this could be the 2024 CVO Street Glide with the 121 engine, but it's got different aesthetics. They've changed it. It could be this year they're gonna release the CVOs, the other two CVOs, the Road Glide and the Street Glide, with some updated aesthetics, but it's also got a 121 cubic engine. This could be something else, of course, again. But below the headlight is a slight redesign to the bottom of the fairing, which now angles forward. So there you can go there. It's almost got a little bit of a scooper at the front there as well. And staying at the front, the mudguard is reshaped to hug the tyre more. Yeah, it does. It does hug the tyre a little bit, but it seems to stick out the front a little bit. Yeah, tyre more loosely. Sorry, I misread that. So in other words, it's a little bit further away, which I think is a bit poor actually, and straightens at either end compared to the current model. The wheel itself is also new to the CVO 121 version of the Street Glide with an alloy rim and encircling spokes. Yeah, this is what we talked about in the previous show as well, a few weeks ago. Behind the bars, the tank is also reshaped. There is a new extremely large screen with new switches and buttons on the bars to incorporate some of the new capabilities, such as a large screen, presumably will offer with ergonomy. don't know what it's trying to say. There's also a speaker on the either side, left and right, of the back side of the fairing, with 2 more at the back of the bike, on each of the case. Well, that's standard stuff, which themselves are seemingly larger than those on the current bike, so bigger speakers, basically. Okay, just goes on and on and on about 121 engine. Okay, the number refers to the engine displacement in cubic inches. I mean, really, they've written this for the people who don't know what they're even talking about here. Cubic inches, which equates to 1983 cc. Cycle World also reports the engine is expected to feature variable valve timing, and that it could be twin cooled, both liquid and air cooling. Okay, so this is an interesting thing here. I'm just wondering whether this CVO Street Glide is the one for next year. It is indeed. The article is correct. And whether the photos that we've seen of the bikes coming off the production line, whether they are actually 2023 first edition new CVO bikes with a 121 engine. So let us know what your thoughts about this. So this is just a story that I picked up this morning. I wasn't really looking around for it, and I just I suddenly noticed it. It came out yesterday afternoon. So again, I haven't actually had a press release on this, or I haven't actually had any other information or corroborating information on this as well. It's purely what I'm reading to you now. So when it comes to stopping the CVO Street Glide 121 Harley Davidson has decided with twin floating front disc and Brembo calipers. When the bike will be available, still not clear, especially as it still is yet to be officially announced by Harley Davidson. Well, that's no groundbreaking news, because Harley Davidson don't tend to do that these days. But considering the apparent finality of the motorcycle shown in the photos, it would seem likely that a 2024 model year release is likely. Okay, so this 2024 seems to what a lot of people are either Cycle World magazine or Harley Davidson are supposing this is, but they seem to be ignoring the photos that came out a little while ago, and all the fine details that were picked out on those photos. So again, this could be a bit of a spurious thing. So we do know that there's going to be a new Street Glide CVO and a new Road Glide with a new fairing, especially on the Road Glide. It really is pronounced. There's a big difference. So whether this will be 2023 into 2024, unless Harley Davidson themselves have really put a stop on the 2023 release, model year release of the CVOs, because they've got the 120th anniversary bikes that they want to shift. I'm not 100% sure here, but I was fully under the impression that this was going to be the photos that we saw, which is essentially this bike here, and then the Road Glide CVO was going to be released this year. So hey, watch this space for that one. Okay, let's move on to another story now. I'm just going to quickly run through this and then make of it what you will. Okay, so the next story here is Harley Davidson. I got a press release here. It's more Livewire, the electric spin-off of the company. They're releasing prices for the second Livewire bike, the Livewire S2 Del Mar electric motorcycle. It was supposed to be already released, but they've had to put it back for another 6 months or so. It could be coming out later on in the year. But initially, when they were asking pre-orders for it last year, it was $16,999. But it's now lowered to $15,499, and they're basically saying this is the second cheapest motorcycle in the Harley Davidson lineup. So they say it's the cheapest bike apart from the Nightster, and the Livewire, obviously, set of dealerships, which are basically just piggybacking off Harley Davidson dealerships. They've also launched in Europe as well. So Europe have got Livewire website, Livewire dealerships as well. So it's also going to throughout the United States. This Del Mar is going to be made available, but also the UK. I memean, and Europe. The question is, how successful is this bike going to be? I mean, I can't remember what so it's got 110 mile range, and can accelerate to 60 miles per hour in 3.1 seconds, and it's for city riding. City riding, £15,000. Sorry, $15,000. Let me just see if I can pick up the press release that I got. Livewire press office there. Yeah, 15,400. Europe. Okay, for European Livewire consumers, reservations for the S2 Dalmar launch edition will open at 4 p.m. Central Eastern Time, April 27th, and will require €100 fee. Only 100 examples of the S2 Dalmar European launch edition models will be made, featuring an exclusive finish and wheel design. The graphics and paint in a unique Himalaya white finish are applied by hand using the process that takes 5 days to complete. The launch edition of the S2 Dalmar is planned for delivery in Europe this September. Okay, so September it is. So oh, crikey. Okay, so these are prices here for Europe, right? France, it's €20,000, 190. So 20,190 euros. Germany, €19,990. Why there's a price difference there, I'm not 100% sure, especially as these are all European countries within the European Union. Netherlands, €20,390. The UK is £18,990. I've got a feeling this is not going to sell. Not going to sell at those prices. You could make the argument of 15,000, whatever it was, 15,499 in the US. That might appeal to certain people, but if we just do the reverse calculation of this exchange rate, 18,990 is well over $20,000. So $20,000 for a bike that does a 110 mile range is not a great return, I don't think. But anyway, listen, so there we go. So that's the live wire for you there. That it's launching. They've got the S2 Dalmar. They've reduced the price. Essentially, they've reduced the price for it. Okay, next story here. This is from Triumph. Triumph in India. They've basically been having a long-standing relationship with Bajaj and to develop bikes and bring out bikes later this year. And there's been quite a few spy photos of the Triumphs as well going on. But basically, Bajaj Auto and Triumph Motorcycles announced that they have transferred the latter's Triumph's India sales and marketing operations to the Pune-based firm. So in other words, all Triumph dealings in India are all going to come under Bajaj now. So the two companies disclosed that they will be also launching a jointly developed mid-sized range of bikes later this year. So just like Harley Davidson with the India connection, just like KTM with the Indian and BMW India connection, Triumph have done the same as well. And they're going to have a range of bikes. It's quite an interesting story here. This is from Telegraph India. Yeah, telegraphindia.com. So Bajaj already operates 4 distinct and exclusive dealerships of networks for its KTM, Bajaj motorcycles, Chetak electric, and Bajaj three-wheelers range of products. The Triumph dealers will join this family as a 5th exclusive retail channel within a network of over 6,000 dealers and sub-dealers across Bajaj brand portfolio in India. And it just goes on and on and on there. So basically, hey, listen, Bajaj Auto now plans to open Triumph dealerships in over 120 cities in the next 2 years, in line with Triumph's global standards. So Triumph, are going to hit the big time really for the India massive market with collabs with the Indian company Bajaj. Hey, let's see what comes of that. But there we go. That's a decent shout there. This is another one again, Triumph again. This comes from Visor Down. I don't know if you remember, I said a few months ago, or maybe even longer, that Triumph were getting to get into the motocross field, and they were talking about enduro motocross for next year, next season, 2024 season. And Ricky Carmichael has been working with them, as many people would consider the GOAT, especially of Supercross. that he's been working with Triumph, developing their ADVs, but also this as well. And basically, there's a new video appearing to show Clément Dessalles testing the anticipated Triumph motocross bike that will race for the first time next January. So this is 2024 as well. Yeah, so should I just see if I can... It won't let me put this on here. Is that a video? No, it's not. It's just a still photo. I don't think there is any video. Is this the video? Okay, I can maybe just quickly show you there. See what it does. Yeah. Okay. Well, certainly sounds the part, doesn't it? There we go. So there we go. Yeah. So Harley Davidson Triumph, making big waves not only in the foreign markets and the global presence, but also, as I say, eagerly anticipated getting into the off-road world or getting into the motocross world as well. And let's just see how successful they're going to be and how competitive they're going to be. Because let's face it, the other manufacturers, the traditional manufacturers, the KTMs, the Husqvarnas, the Kawasaki's, Hondas, whatever it is, they are light years ahead, really. So you've got to think that, with the likes of Ricky Carmichael they're going to have to produce something that is, it's pretty, very competitive, and people are going to want to buy it. Sounds like a four-stroker to me. That kind of sounded like a bit of a 400 range, 450. It seemed to have that sort of tone to it. Who knows what size it will be. I understand, I could be wrong here, so please don't quote me, but I understand that they're going to enter two classes. That's a 250 and I want to say 450, but I can't remember what the other class is. But certainly a 250 class I think they're going to enter. I could be... I'll tell you what I'll do. Before I start... I can't find that. No, I'll see if I can find it a little bit later on where it is. But I think it's a 250 and 450 class. Hello, guys in the chat. Hello, how are you? Michael Kozak. Hello. Buy stock in Triumph. Well, it would appear so. Mike Skidmore. I heard all about a Triumph MX bike. Never heard about an ATV. So ADV, adventure bike. Yeah, Ricky Carmichael has been working with with them to develop their future. And test ride a lot of their adventure bikes, the Tiger 1200, that kind of thing. So the MX bikes, yeah, they've been working on this for a while now, definitely a while. But it seems as if they've got bikes ready to go. So I suppose it depends how they are. Okay, so no, I was right. Okay, so why didn't I just keep on reading it? You're asking me. So Triumph will enter its first respective seasons of the MX2 World Championship and the 250 class of the Super Motocross World Championship SMX, and thereby its constituent series AMA Supercross and AMA Pro Motocross in 2024 before debuting its 450cc motorcycle in competition in the MXGP World Championship and 450cc class of SMX in 2025. So firstly it's going to be the 250, then the 450. That certainly sounded like a 450 to me, but as I say, I could be wrong there. Okay, next story here. This is again with his Bajaj. This is the Triumph. Remember the story I just talked about here. Bajaj and Triumph in collaboration to develop new bikes. This is more spy photos of this bike coming out. This is from financialexpress.com from India as well. They're just talking about a few of the specs. Speaking of engine cases, the upcoming Bajaj Triumph Scrambler likely gets a 400cc power output close to that of the KTM 390 range. Yeah, I think they're all competing in that 3 to 400cc bracket as well. Okay, here's the next story from Ducati. Yeah, Interesting story here. This is from the telegraph.co.uk. Ducati, because they come under the Volkswagen banner in terms of Audi, they're all sharing technology and R&D and that kind of thing. So basically what they're doing here, and I won't go into the story, but you can go read it yourself. They're basically trying to develop a new battery technology that it will basically make it a much better electric bike as well. So they're looking into that bike and different chemistry for the battery as well. So it's an interesting thing here. Ducati, you could say they've been late to the party in terms of on-road motorcycles. We know they've gone into the Moto E, the electric motorcycle racing championship this year. So it'd be interesting to see how they develop this for later on. Mike Skidmore. Oh, an ADV Triumph has had the Triumph Tiger for a long time. Yes, and Ricky Carmichael was partly responsible for the latest developments of the 1200 Tiger 1200. Mike Skidmore. The two main motocrossers, 250 and 450cc 4-strokes. In the past, 125cc 2-strokes were allowed to run against 250 and 250 2-strokes against 4. Yes, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Good. I mean, yeah. As I say, it's great that you're sort of corroborating this, and say I don't know all the info on that, but it's good that I'm at least on the right track here. The American bicycle company Cannondale came out with a very advanced 4-stroke motocross bike, very innovative, had financial problems. Yeah, there's been quite a few companies that have developed and come out with some great tech, but then fallen by the wayside. Not only petrol bikes, but electric bikes as well. Okay, so that's Ducati. What's this? So here's a quick story, and I won't go into it. You can read it. It's from Korea. June Gang Daily is basically for BMW are getting into the Korean market, and they're going to help them hopes to build up Koreans' awareness of motorcycles. So basically, for the past 2 decades, BMW Motorrad's biggest priority in the Korean market was not just selling more motorcycles, but improving the awareness of Korean buyers. The two-wheeler division of the German luxury car maker's efforts seems to be paying off, with its sales skyrocketing over 300% in the last 10 years. So they've basically got this strategy to get into more markets, just like Triumph, really very similar in kind of strategies in many ways. They're not just trying to go for the European market or try and crack the American market or compete here. They're all trying to go for these other markets with smaller bikes and play the likes of Honda at their own game and say, well, no, we're just going to come in, just produce really great bikes, but sell a lot of smaller CC bikes, and raise our brand profile in all these other countries. Yeah. Okay, here's another thing. And I don't know why I featured this story. This is from Vanity Fair. I don't read Vanity Fair, by the way, but it just came up on here. Anne Margaret, the old singer-actress, is riding a Harley Davidson. She's always loved bikes, apparently. And there's a story there. If you VanityFair.com. /. She's just released a new album. And now what was it? There was something that piqued my. I didn't know she was from Sweden. I believe I didn't know that. And she used to go riding with her uncle a lot in Norway as well. And she used to love all this. It's not only Harley and I, the singer also has 19-year-old. Okay. Yeah, so she's been riding for many years. I mean, who knew? Lots of people do lots of things, don't they? But anyway, if you're interested in that story, I wasn't really, I've got to say, but there we go. Bike Shed. The Bike Shed show in London is coming soon, May 27th to May 28th, Saturday and Sunday, the Tobacco Dock. I might be popping along to that, actually, having a cheeky little look. Yeah, I do like a bit of that. that kind of action. There's some great shows around the country, quite a small motorcycle shows, and they're really cool. This is a little bit bigger, but it started off quite small a few years ago. There's a few others around the country where they're like indoor shows, but they're just really cool custom bike shows, one-off shows and things like that. So anyway, that's all starting again, and this show has got bigger and bigger now. It attracts a lot of the brown motorcycle seat brigade, but it attracts all sorts, So it's sometimes I think it's just too many hipsters hanging around, too many cool looking dudes. You know what I mean? Walking around these places. Beezer the biker, good morning. How are you? Okay, right. So here's another story here from Curtis. Now, Curtis are the company that came out of Confederate, or they changed their name. Whatever, they stopped with Confederate and they became Curtis. I can't remember the reason why. I can't remember if it was anything. Okay, so Curtis, formerly Confederate Motorcycles. There we go. I should just read these articles as opposed to trying to do it all from memory. Secured a patent on its axis-centered design, ACD, which is a foundation for its new all-electric luxury motorcycle. And it basically saying the electric bike, $120,000. Okay, they're always premium electric, motorcycles, Curtis and Confederate. Let me just make this point. When people talk to me about premium brands or premium products, right? This is what I consider premium. In other words, hand built, bespoke, high manufacturing, very small numbers, that kind of thing. That's what I consider premium. And maybe it's just me, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't consider Harley Davidson a premium product or a premium brand, because I just don't think they're on a par. But I could be wrong there, so please try not to shoot me too much in my diagnose or my interpretation. But anyway, I consider them a premium brand, which I don't really like the look of this. I've got to say it's a bit goofy for me, but there we go. Anyway, so it's $120,000. Crikey. It's got a range of 120 miles, 217 horsepower, and this is the One. They're calling it the One. Is being dubbed by its maker as a Tesla of motorcycles for obvious marketing reasons. Nevertheless, it's only one notable part of a truly unique machine. Curtis aims to begin deliveries in the near future into a market with no direct rival. I'm not sure what it means by no direct rival, because there's lots of electric bikes everywhere, right? Maybe not at this level. What I think there are. I mean, you've got highly bespoke, highly expensive motorcycles in this kind of price bracket, like the Arc Vector for a start, Damon Hypersport motorcycles. They're all going to be in this kind of range as well. So I'm not 100% sure. Curtis gets its name from the famed motorcycle and aviation innovator Glenn Curtis. I mean, you can definitely see the aviation feel in it, or certainly I can feel it. There he set land speed record on his V8 motorcycle back in 1902. There we go. Here's more of a profile view. I get it. I get the look. I get the style of it. I get it. And I get some, highfalutin lawyer somewhere is going to think, oh, I want this for my office, or I want to take it out for a little ride for $120,000, or some, stockbroker or something like that. I get it. I get all that. And this is why I say premium brand and bespoke manufacturing and all that. I get it. I'm just not convinced that they are, when you're talking about the specs of 120-mile range, and 217 horsepower. Yes, that is a monster, no doubt. But it does seem to be as if they're going into they're pricing their motorcycles at really expensive, which no doubt it probably costs that much because all the hand-built stuff, components on there. But I'd much rather get an Arch KR GT1, you know, petrol bike rather, for 80-odd thousand. But there we go. Mike Skib, my code's like GRA. These bikes are an investment. That's it. Oh, true. Yeah. Okay. I get that. I get that. And that's what I say. You know, I think big financiers and lots of money would look at this and say, okay, I'll buy this as an investment. Yeah. Mike Skibble, in the USA, they make Janus motorcycles, 125cc, 250cc, and now 450cc Chinese-made, air-cooled, Honda clone motors. Most of their models are 1920s vintage, rather overpriced. Yeah. There's a lot of that about, actually, in all fairness. $40,000 for a Harley Davidson CVO, very premium paint, fit, and finish, not the best handling. 117 cubic inches now. Yeah, I think we'd have to agree to disagree. I agree that it's a better finish. I'm just not convinced that Harley Davidson, in all of their motorcycles, is a premium bike in terms of quality, in terms of fit and finish. I'm not convinced, but that's not to say that I'm right. You know, I could be wrong. Okay, so let's. No, is that it? Yes, there we go. Right. So, should we get on to the big story? I've rabbled on enough here. I didn't really want it to go on for this long. 33 minutes, and I've just been talking about the news. But look, I think there's some interesting stories there going out. So let's just talk about, well, the main order of the day, shall we? Okay, I do love those maracas, I've got to say. Right, so, Harley Davidson. Where are you, Harley? I keep on saying, where are you, Harley? Well, they've been lurking in the shadows, haven't they? They've been operating quite successfully in the shadows. Now, I'd love to know what the current sales figures are for Harley Davidson in China. We know that they've released the X350, and now they've released the X500. So let's just get some photos here for you of the X500. Here we go. Right, so this is the X500 released in China. This is directly off the Chinese Harley Davidson website. Okay, so I'm just doing this. Let me see if I can just get myself out here. There we go. That's a better view. There we go. Now, if I just scroll up here, probably get a much better view there. That's quite nice. There's a better view a little bit further up. Here we go. I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me just pull myself out of this a minute. Hold on. I'll do that. There we go. Right. There we go. So I've pulled myself out of the picture there a little bit, so you've got a better view. So this is the X500. This looks very, very similar to other bikes. Other sort of Chinese bikes I see in Europe. Very similar. Benelli. This is very much a Benelli for me. So this is the X500, 2023 X500. It is being sold. So it looks as if it's got that burnt orange look. That's quite nice, actually. I first saw that on was it a Street Glide or something a few years ago? I can't remember when I first saw it. It's got that silver metallic look, and it's got the vivid black. The vivid black looks quite nice, we've got to say. But it kind of looks as if it's got mini wheels on it. It kind of looks really small. Let me just see about up here. This is the video for it, or the intro video for it. It's Harley Davidson X500, LED lighting all around. Yeah, nice little badging. Yeah, hand grips. Nice little contour on the seat there as well. Yeah, liquid cooled engine, this one. Looks like a is it parallel twin? I think it could be a parallel twin engine, just like the X350. Yeah, definitely liquid cooled. So this is it. I mean, what do you guys think of it? I'm not 100% sure on that. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Off camera. Listen to me, crikey. I'm going to do this, right? So this picture here. Oops. I wonder if this. No, it won't let me copy it. I was going to try and unless you know Chinese, Mandarin, I believe this would be. If you can read that down there, let us know what you think it is. But I think that says grey haze. That one. Yeah, this. I'm sure it was a parallel. Is it a single or is it a parallel twin? 500cc. Let me just have a look here. It's quite nice. From that angle, it looks quite nice. It's got a twin disc setup at the front, I believe. Single disc at the rear. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, it is a twin because you've got two exhausts come down. So it's a 2-into-1 monoshock rear suspension, upside down front forks, LED lighting all around. Yeah, that's quite nice. That is. That's quite nice, but it's very generic for me. Very generic. Stephen Freeman. Yeah, I agree. It's a Benelli DChina. That's what it is, lol. Yeah, as I say, this is Benelli for me. I'm not sure what's so special about it. It's Benelli with with Harley Davidson badging on it. Yeah, okay, there's a little bit of styling differences. Cat Weasel, hello, how are you? Thank you. Never liked that high fender on the rear. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that whole thing as well, because I think, well, if you're gonna have the high fender at the back here, then this gap here, I know you've got the little number plate splash guard at the back that will stop spray coming up, but I still think that's going to come up through here, and it's going to make the back of the bike look like a bag of spanners. H-D is using them in their learn to ride schools, not for sale in the USA. You can buy the same thing now in the USA under the Benelli DChina 500 launch in the USA. Yes. Yeah. But this was supposed to be a little bit different. It wasn't supposed to be a direct thing. Yeah, I mean, it kind of looks all right, doesn't it, from that quarter? Yeah, it just looks like quite a small bike to me. You know, for small people, it'll be fine. But say it looks like quite a small bike. Let's have a look here. 500cc. Let's see if I can get this. Crikey, mate. Right, so I'm going to try and translate this for you guys. Oh, crikey. There we go. Right. 1 second. Okay, so this bit here says a reliable 500cc liquid-cooled engine on any ride for stability and optimum performance. Right, so this is. So I thought I'd do it this way, guys, because guess what? It's it's got wide seat design, improved riding comfort, more suitable for long distance riding. So that's basically what it's saying. 500cc and a wider seat, more comforts. There we go. Right. Let's have a look here. So what I'm doing, I'm basically taking these details and I'm just quickly putting it through Google Translate for you. Let's have a look. Here we go. Yeah, I can. Let's see if I can do that. No, that's copy. There we go. So this is. Yeah, both front and rear suspensions are adjustable. Performance and comfort, you can have it all. Okay, standard Harley Davidson stuff there. Doesn't matter what language. Okay, so this is the Chinese specifications. I believe this would be Wheelbase here, 2,135. I would say seat height here is 820. Is that right? I would say 24.5 would be your rake. 153 would probably be your trail. Something like that. The 100.4, what's this one? Let's have a look at this. This would be, there we go, 1 second. Sorry, the 100.4 that you see there, that's the trail. And what's that 153? It is ground clearance, right? 150 ground clearance. This would be, I would say, so the if we look here, 2135, that's got to be the overall length, and the wheelbase is that 1458. The tires, you got a 120 70R ZR17 for the front, and a 160 60R17 for the rear. The tires are Maxxis Supermax STs. You got a 13-litre fuel tank. I believe this is a 3.2 oil. What's this? 199. Yeah, that's a 39. I mean, yeah, somebody's saying, sorry, cat wheels are not for me. It's not for me. I mean, factory weight. So 199 kilos, would that be? It's got to be, isn't it? Yeah, it's got to be 109 kilos. And the 208 is, curb weight, basically. 500cc. Let's have a look here. What does that say? I assume that's got to be a parallel twin. It says there. Hold on. It is liquid cooled parallel twin cylinders, 500cc. You've got I think the 69 and 68 is going to be bore and stroke. Is that right? Let's have a look. It's usually bore and stroke, isn't it? Yeah, bore. 69 for the bore, stroke 66.8. 500cc cubic inches. Volume ratio, compression ratio 11.5 to 1. This is the emissions, all the emissions around here. So this is, and what's this one here? I'm not going to go through everything because obviously that would just be insane, wouldn't it? Right, but there we go. Look, we're all getting a Chinese lesson here today. Look at that. Right, so, engine torque method. So this is a torque. So this is 46 Newton meters, I would imagine, at 6,000 RPM, 35 kilowatts hours. Yeah, just keeps on going. CO2 emissions. These are the gear ratios. Yeah, gear ratios. This is your suspension. Okay, so this would be your front suspension here. Let's have a look. Just make sure that is. So 50mm inverted rebound adjustable for the front, and that is oil air separation rebound damping adjustable preload adjustable shock absorber. So that's the rear. You got front floated rear solid disc, 4 piston fixed point, 1 piston floating for the rear. Yeah, it just goes on for the other stuff. That'll be this. The last little bit will be all the electrical stuff like that as well. So there we go. Listen, what can I say about it? What can I say? Let me just get myself back in a proper running order. Shall I? Hold on. About that. Is that about right? Yeah, that'll do, won't it? There we go. I'm back. So what do we think? Harley Davidson. This is the X500. I've got to say, I'm a little disappointed in it because now I'm seeing it in the proper flesh, not those dodgy photos that we all had a few months ago. The original angle photos that you saw kind of made it look a little bit, I suppose, a little bit better than this. And it looks too much like a Benelli. It just looks too much like it, doesn't it? There is nothing out here that strikes me as being, oh, you got to have this as a Harley Davidson. So you look at this price and you think, okay, I don't know what the price is here. That's the thing. Let's have a look, because they usually put the price at the top by usually a price on arrival, isn't it? So look, what's this? Okay, so, oh crikey, so these are different pricings. I tell you what, guys, that's all in Chinese. There's no way I'm going to be able to know what that is. Let's see the bottom, see if it's got me an idea. No pricing at the bottom here either. Yeah, as I say, I mean, you would imagine, even for the Chinese market, this is going to come in at more expensive than your Benelli or anything like that. The one thing that I've said about Harley Davidson in China, or definitely in other parts of the world, is that it's the name. It's name recognition. It's name branding. And that's what is going to sell. That's what's going to attract people to the brand. So even if it is a Benelli copy, Leoncino copy, even if it is, you know, an X350 or an X500, even if it's the same build quality, even if it's not really part of, you know, how much involvement have Harley Davidson had in this? I would imagine a lot, because they're not going to put their name to a bike that they haven't had hands-on, you know, dealings with and part of the design process and part of the manufacturing process. But you got to imagine and think, well, if I'm a consumer and I'm looking at somebody, you know, I roll up and I pay $2,000 or whatever, $3,000 or how many Chinese yen it is for a Benelli, or for one of their own branded bikes, QJ Motor, who Harley Davidson have gone into production with on these bikes, they make their own version of a Benelli 500, which is even cheaper. And it looks exactly the same like the Benelli, and it looks exactly the same as this. Well, barring a few styling differences as well. So let's say you pile up as a, you know, a local Chinese dude, right? You pile up to your or pole up to your local motorcycle cafe or whatever it is, and motorcycle tea shop, I should say. So you go there, you pull up on your QJ Motor, the other guy pulls up on his Benelli, and the other guy pulls up on his brand new Harley Davidson. For one, you know, 3 in a row, they're pretty much going to be the same bike, you would imagine, apart from some aesthetics. But one's paid 2,000, one paid probably 3,000, the other one's probably paid 5,000, whatever it is, you know. So Mike Skidmore, it's an affordable beginner's bike. Yes, definitely made in the QJ factory in China. Yes, absolutely. Definitely a better finished Benelli. Factory makes nearly 1.5 million bikes per year and employs over 14,000 people. The bike, in all honesty, looks great. I don't think it doesn't look great. I just don't think it looks individual enough or doesn't separate itself from a Benelli. That's all I'm trying to say, you know. Steve Freeman, unfortunately not being built in the United States will never be a proper Harley, no matter how good it is. That's the sad truth. Yeah, I would agree. But then, listen, who are we kidding? I suppose I can't say we, but I hoped that this would be the 350 and the 500. I thought this would be made available to more markets, maybe in Europe, and I think it would be a good seller in Europe, in all fairness. But it looks as if it's going to just be for the Chinese market. Now, I did say a couple of weeks ago that the Harley-Davidson collaboration with Hero Motorcorp of India, when they released their Indian Harley-Davidsons, let's say, later on this year and into next year, I've got a sneaking feeling those motorcycles will look very similar to these, or some of them, a couple of them, or two, will look similar to these, but they will be made available to the European market. I'm not sure about the USA market. I just got a feeling, part of me feels that these bikes would do well on the European roads, because let's not forget, we're already importing Chinese bikes. You know, they're already coming over, and also Indian motorcycles are coming over, like the Royal Enfield as well. Yeah. Mike Skidmore, here in the USA, lots of debate if H-D dealers will ever sell this or not. Yeah, I mean, I think what you said was right before. The X350 has gone into the Harley-Davidson riding academies in the United States. And, you know, that's the thing. Will they ever sell it? I think the proof will be whether there's a demand. Whether the people going into the riding academies, whether they value these bikes, whether they think they're really good learner bikes, or just motorcycles for urban riding, for a city ride. Now, let's just say if I was a city slicker and I wanted a Harley Davidson, let's say, and I didn't have a lot of money, and I'd look at this bike and I'd go, yeah, okay, I could see myself getting something like this, the X350 or an X500. I could see myself definitely getting it, you know, because it'd be no different from any other bike, really. Especially just but I mean, if I was purely in the city, I may venture towards a cheaper electric bike these days. But there we go. Michael, I wonder if the team, I wonder if the design team is Harley Davidson or Chinese design team. Good question. I wouldn't be surprised if this is predominantly a Chinese design, because it looks so much the same as Benelli. I would not be surprised if QJ Motor or Harley Davidson with QJ Motors, they came to an agreement and they said, right, okay, we want to get into the Chinese market. This is Harley Davidson. We want to get into the Chinese market, into the mass market. Who can we team up with? Right, QJ Motor, because they're a big motorcycle manufacturer in China, right? Okay, what can QJ Motor do for us? What can we do? What name, what product can we attach our name to? So QJ Motors say, hey, look, we produce these bikes. What about if we tweak it here, tweak the nose here, twist the screw there, add a little bit of flake here, and, you know, so I wouldn't be surprised if they've already, the platform is there, because we can see it. We can see that it's a Benelli. We can see that it's already a QJ Motor bike. You say, well, actually, all they need to do, so Harley Davidson can send over a team and say, well, they could say, okay, well, we can see what you've done there, but just change that a little bit, you know, change this graphic, you know, all that sort of stuff. So I would not be surprised if it's predominantly Chinese, but then the Americans, Harley Davidson, have come in, you know. Mike Skidmore, my 2008 Buell. Oh, you got a Buell, lovely. Ulysses 1203cc Thunderstorm engine, 103 horsepower. H-D Sportster 1203cc, 74 horsepower. Mine has air scoops to cool rear cylinder, oil cooler, thermostat for a fan to cool the heads. Head kicks on at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Totally into Italian Benelli design. QJ owns a Benelli design team. Yes, it's. I mean, it. You know. The thing is with the Benelli Leoncino, it's a small looking bike. It's got small wheels as well. Were they 16-inch wheels? No, let me just. I can't remember what they were. 17-inch front. Oh no, 17 front and rear. 17-inch front and rear. Okay, so not so small. I thought they were a little bit smaller than that, but not so small. Yeah. Yeah, I think it. From the pictures looks all right. It looks all right. I don't think it's an embarrassment of a bike. I don't think it's anything of the sort. I think it's quite a decent looking bike. My only criticism of it, if there is a criticism, is that for a Harley Davidson product, albeit it's in China and albeit it's only for the Chinese market, I just don't think it's distinctive enough. One of the traits, whether you like Harley Davidson for this or not, whether you think that they are a good company, a bad company, they make good bikes, crap bikes, overpriced bikes, whatever. Somebody mentioned this on one of my videos the other day, and I totally agree, and I've said this a million times before. You know when you're on a Harley Davidson. Other people know when you're on a Harley Davidson. When you ride your Harley, I ride my Harley, more often than not, people stop and look. When you park your Harley Davidson on the side of the road, people walking by will look. More so, I dare say, and I don't want to piss off the Indian or the Triumph or the Kawasaki Brigade or the Honda Brigade, but more people tend to look at a Harley Davidson or that kind of motorcycle than any other type of motorcycle. I would imagine, unless you're a fan of sports bikes or unless you're a fan of X, Y, and Z, right? Most people, they see a Harley Davidson, it's the sound, it's the look, it's what part nostalgia, part old school, part of chrome, part bad biker, look, I don't know, whatever it is. There is something about it. It's got curb appeal. It's got, it's the sound, it's the vibration, it's whatever. Sometimes you look at it and you think it's just old, it's just looking old fashioned. You got all this other modern tech, but it's Harley Davidson still flying the flag for old traditional biking, right? Even though there's lots of modern tech on these modern Harley Davidsons, right? Now, when I look at this bike, the Benelli here, let me just put the picture up there for you as well. It doesn't have that appeal to me. It's not as if, forget about the badge. Okay, the badge is one thing. If I put black tape over the badge, the Harley Davidson badge on the tank, it would just be a generic bike. It would just be a generic bike. Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't have that same curb appeal. It doesn't, oh, look at that small Harley Davidson going by. Now, it doesn't have to. That's okay, so I need to correct myself here. It doesn't have to either. But the problem is, especially in recent years, that more and more has there been this association of Harley Davidson with a rising curb appeal, or the perception of curb appeal. That people want to aspire to it. They want to be a premium brand and everything. So this slaps in the it's a slap in the face of that kind of mindset. You've got a cheap bike, very generic looking. Yeah, it's got a Harley Davidson X badge on it. I did notice that they're pushing the 1903 quite a bit on these bikes as well, with the engine casings. Yeah. Mike's given on my 2008 Buell aluminium Italian made frame with gas in frame, Showa Japanese suspension, Italian switchgear, German side and top cases. Yeah. I mean, let's not forget that during the AMF years, Harley Davidson teamed up with Aramaki from Italy, and they eventually bought them out as well. And that's what they always produced small bikes in the past. Even before then, they produced small bikes. Post-war, you've got the Hummer bikes as well, things like that. Those were basically came from German designs. The British, the Russians, and the Americans took those German designs, and one was became the BSA, whatever it was called. The Americans made it into the Hummer, and another one, and the Russians made it into, I forgot what it's called now, the Leopard or something. Can't remember. Yeah. So, you know, having small bikes is not there's nothing new there. And when you consider those bikes from the AMF years, those small bikes, 125s, 175s, 250s, 300s, those kind of 300s was certainly 125s, 175s, 200s, and 250s. They were definitely there. Loads of bikes all over the place. Do people have the same reaction to those bikes, in comparison to the existing bigger Harley Davidsons? I dare say they did. I mean, I wasn't really aware at that time. I wasn't even sure I was born at that time. No, sorry, I was definitely born. I wasn't. It's funny, those small AMF bikes, I remember seeing those a lot on the road. I remember seeing those a lot in TV shows and American TV shows, granted. TV shows all the time, That's right, yes, Michael Skidmore, yes, that's right. The Hummer from the German motorcycle was World War II reparations, yes, it was. That's right, it was. Considering a Harley Davidson t-shirt is $50, that H-D logo must be worth a lot. Wow, you would think so. But look, I mean, this is not an attack on Harley Davidson pricing per se. This is more like, I suppose, the disconnect. And maybe, I can't remember who it was. I do apologize. So that this Chinese motorcycle with the Harley Davidson branding, Harley Davidson logo, Harley Davidson name, would not sell well in the United States. I'm not so sure. But I just don't think it would sell to the Harley Davidson fan base. I just don't think it would sell to the Harley Davidson crowd as a primary bike, first of all. I think it would sell to the Harley Davidson crowd who want another cheap, fun bike. I think it would definitely sell to the people who do mostly urban riding, who just want to do, quick ride into the office, whatever. New York, classic city, New York, riding around there. I could see it. I could see this bike riding around all the major cities in Europe. Easily, I could see it. I could see people having great fun with them as well. If they brought it here, if my local Harley Davidson dealership brought this, I'd be like, do you know what? I want a second bike. I want a second cheap bike. How much? How much for one of them? Now, if they don't apply the Harley tax to them, which not be too crazy, and you would have to make the direct comparison between this bike and a Leoncino and a Benetti Leoncino, let's say, and you say, right, okay, what's the price difference? What's the price? It should be essentially the same price, bar, let's say, $300 or $400 dollars. It should be pretty close. And if it's $2,000 or $3,000 pounds, shekels more, forget it. Bantam, the BSA Bantam, that was it. Sorry, the first BSA Bantam was from British, taking the designs of the German bike of the time. Americans with the Hummer, and the Russians with their whatever there was. Michael, entry level bike. Yeah, I think look, it definitely is an entry level bike. I think in certain markets it's just going to be the main bike. In the Western world, we tend to think of Harley Davidson as big bikes, but many other countries around the world people don't ride big bikes. If you take the likes of Thailand, Indonesia, India, whatever, China, Vietnam, whatever, all these sort of countries around there, Middle East to the Far East, certainly the Far East, most people are riding very small CC bikes, mopeds, CCs, 125s, 250s, 300s. Most people, because it actually comes down to price, right? It comes down to affordability and what you can afford. So that's why the cheap bikes, relatively cheap to buy, cheap to run, cheap to maintain. Morris, I had I had a SX250. Nice. Late 70s, wasn't a bad dirt bike. Yeah. Nice. I love those old trailie bikes from those MFUs from Harley Davidson. Yeah, I loved all those. Yeah. Sorry, here we go. Sorry, Bees, I missed your comment. Sorry. I think Harley missed a great opportunity to build from the V-Rod platform. They could have continued being innovative, and also kept the classic lines, a Heritage Ultra Sports or Softail. Okay, again, I was having a very response to an comment the other day. Talking about the Sportster, and so why has the Sportster been discontinued? Why couldn't they have just put a modern engine, let's say, that would have been emissions compliant into the Sportster frame, let's say, or just make a new frame that kind of looks like a Sportster, if you know what I mean, like the older Sportsters. Why do they have to go with a brand new Sportster that, or the Nightster? And you think you didn't really need to do it. You just needed to put a new engine in there. And maybe you could have redesigned the bike, but continued it as an evolution of that Sportster line, as opposed to a brand new Sportster. I know that you have to look at the future, and you have to look at the future. You have to look at progression, everything like that. But some things just don't need to be changed. But if they have to be changed in terms of that it's forced on you by legislation, then just make the changes to comply with legislation, as opposed to scrapping the whole bike and everything like that. And I get you what you say. V-Rods are very much what we call a Marmite bike over here in the UK. You either love them or you hate them. There's lots of bikes that have ever, or cars, whatever. It's got a fan base, but lots of people don't like it, and lots of people do like it, right? So it's which side of the sliced bread you fall on, right? We call it a Marmite bike. And for those of you who don't know, Marmite is like a Vegemite type substance. It's like a malty beef extract or vegetable extract that's very distinctive, very harsh taste. And you can spread it on bread or cook with it, all sorts of stuff with it, right? Some people, they go, oh, it's disgusting. And other people go, yeah, please give me more. I love this stuff. So that's what we call Marmite, right? So lots of bikes like the V-Rod, like things like that. You think, well, actually, why did you need to scrap it? Yes, maybe the first incarnation of it was, Marmite. Well, maybe we could have carried on with that development. What about if they just not scrapped that bike and thought, no, we're going to keep it, but we're going to evolve it? What about if they didn't scrap the Buells? Where would we be now with Harley Davidson in terms of Buell tech, Buell movement, in their brand? So all these bikes from the past that you think, well, actually, they may or may not have been a success, you don't know. But the technology was there, it was evolving. Then all of a sudden the shutters came down on it, and it's thinking, why did you do that? Why did you do that? But there we go. My guesstimation is that the 500cc H-D will be 2,500 US, more than the Benelli Leoncino. I would not be surprised. And that will probably kill the bike, because well, I don't know. That's a good question. Actually, would it kill the bike? Maybe only $1,500 more. Most people in the USA have never heard of Benelli made in China. Very few dealers. Yeah, okay. I mean, you're going to be talking about motorcycle fans, right? V-Rod's very heavy, poor brakes and poor handling. H-D discontinued due to low sales. Now they have the Revolution Max engine, 1250cc, 150 horsepower. Yes, but where could they have gone if they'd carried on? I was thinking more the engine platform, not necessarily the frame and body side of the V-Rod. Well, exactly, that's what I'm thinking as well. The engine, if you take in the engine and develop that, and develop the whole class or series of bikes with that engine, where could it have gone? Or the evolution of that engine, And if you look at it, that V-Rod, engine is kind of like the precursor to the Rev Max engine anyway, so maybe we're there already. But look, I'm just wondering, would this be a success? Would it be a success? Let's just think about this. Would it be a success? Would anybody want to? Let me just get the picture up here. A better picture. Wrong one. Wrong one. That's it. You see, that's the problem. That's the goofiest, weirdest kind of angle as all. I just think it's odd looking with the tank and the seat. I know she's it looks like a female rider, but it just looks a little bit weird there. So I'm just wondering, how much would you be realistically willing to pay for this Harley Davidson, more so than a generic Benelli, generic QJ? Would people want to buy this just because it's a Harley Davidson? What the pricing would be. So let's just say, for example, off the top of my head, let's just say they imported these bikes into the United States or into the UK, and they said these bikes, the X350 and we're going to sell at £4,000, dollars, shekels. This 500 we're going to sell at 5,000. Would people buy it? The problem is at 4,000 and 5,000, you've got excellent motorcycles that are already being sold. That are probably arguably a lot better than this. So it's an interesting one. Let me just have a look. What's a Benelli Leoncino? See how much that price is in here. Hold on, here we go. Benelli Leoncino 500. Let's have a look. Benelli UK. Okay, I'm just looking at the website here for Benelli. Right, so the Benelli Leoncino here in the UK is 5,799. There are different prices here. Yeah, it's different. It's got a different headlight, different lighting. There are differences, no doubt, but the can I? Wonder if I can bring it onto this website here. Actually, Benelli. There we go. This is Benelli, the website here. Let me just take myself out of the picture as well for you guys. There we go. Right. I'm just going to put myself right in the bottom here. Pardon the apologies to the head. Right, you'll see what I mean in a minute. There we go. I'm right at the bottom there, so you can much better view. Okay, so there's a Benelli there. This is the Harley Davidson. So there are differences. Differences in the tank, differences in the seating, but the headlight is different. The clocks are different. Let's have a look here. Yeah, but there's so many similarities there. So many similarities. So that is 5,000. Let me just get that there. Yeah, so that is 5,799. So you would imagine that the Harley Davidson. Let's just say that the Harley Davidson came in at 7,000. So it's more. Would I pay £7,000? Would I pay 7,000 US dollars? Whatever. Would I pay 7,000? Drachma for this? No, I wouldn't. That's the thing. I wouldn't pay 7,000 for that. I might go 6,000. I might match the 5,700. I'm not sure. Yeah. It would come down to pricing, wouldn't it? That's what with this bike. It would just definitely come down to pricing. What would it be? Would it sell in the heartlands, the United States? Definitely not. I don't think so. But would it sell in metropolitan areas in the United States? Yes, it would. I'm convinced it would. I'm convinced it would, because you've got the name Harley Davidson. And who's going to buy it? It's not the old guard Harley Davidson fan. This is going to be the new guard. This is going to be the new rider, beginner rider, young riders, people who just want motorcycles, people who just want cheap modes of transport. And they think, we don't care where it's made. It's Harley Davidson. Who cares? We don't care. We're going to buy it. And where are you going to find those people? Those young, mobile people who want cheap forms of transport? In the cities. For the most part. Okay? For the most part. And, I think they would. I think there would be a seller. Would Harley Davidson do it, though? That's a good question. It's a good question. You see, if you talk about other brands, Mike, I think you said that, nobody in America has heard of these other brands like Benelli's or, some Chinese brands or the lesser brands. Unless it's a Triumph, unless it's a Honda, unless it's a Kawasaki or a Yamaha that's sports bikes. People don't know about the other motorcycles that are being on offer. People don't really know about the lesser brands. Maybe don't even know about the smaller European brands either. But they would. Obviously, they do know about Harley Davidson. If Harley Davidson to their dealerships, and maybe just in their metropolitan dealerships, in their city dealerships, they offered these bikes, these small bikes, I've got a feeling they would sell. I mean, if any of you can remember the AMF years, how many of the AMF bikes were sold? I've got a feeling loads, millions were sold. I can't be sure, but I seem to recall that there was lots and lots of bikes being sold there from Harley Davidson of those AMF. There's 125s, 250s, 200s, 300s, whatever they were. There was loads of them. So, It'd be interesting. The question is, would they ever do it? Would they ever sell it? I mean, they've always said, haven't they, that they're not going to sell this in the United States or any other market. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But also whether they won't change their minds, I don't know. But it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see. But I say, on the face of it, I don't hate it. I don't hate any bike. I sort of like all bikes. I love all bikes. But you can definitely see that it's generics. There's lots of generics. There are different styling cues. They've definitely updated it in certain quarters. It's a decent looking bike. And do I still think they should sell it in the European market? Absolutely right. Absolutely. They definitely should sell this in the European market. Whether they should sell it in the American market, I don't know. Would it sell? I think it would. I would sell in decent numbers. But again, pricing. It comes down to pricing. The thing is, I talk about Benelli's, right? I talk about, this is like a Benelli. And somebody said, how many Benelli's are sold in around the world? I don't think I very, very rarely do I see a Benelli on the road. I've got to say. I don't often see them. Occasionally I do, but not that often. So you got to wonder how... Maybe it is right that they don't sell it. Maybe it is right. Maybe that's the market that they should be selling these bikes, are the market which favours small cc bikes. They can't be, yeah. On the Benelli bike here, it said the DX500 500 is a 499cc twin cylinder, 4-valve dual overhead cam engine, 6-speed gearbox, trellis frame, LED headlight, LED tail light, LED indicators, upside down front forks, 17-inch alloy wheels, 47 brake horsepower, liquid cooled, A2 license required. It's virtually the same specs. As the Harley Davidson. So look, yeah. I wonder if Harley Davidson don't play this game. And if you saw my video the other day, and I talked about the CEO Jochen Zeitz, who gave an interview to Morgan Stanley, the financial people. He's talking about CEO stuff and Harley Davidson from the financial point of view, right? But they're talking about profitability and premium branding and everything. But interesting, when he was asked about if you go to my videos this week, and you'll see the video I'm talking about. You know, do you still believe in Harley Davidson brand or whatever it is? And I put a link to the video there, where you can watch it. But interestingly enough, he's talking about Harley Davidson products, but not once did he talk about the Chinese Harley Davidsons, which I thought was really interesting. And again, this is where what I find incredible, that a company like Harley Davidson have not told the world, the Western world, the rest of the world, they've not told you about these bikes. I just don't know what to make of that. I don't know what to make of that. That a company have not told its fan base, its audience, of these bikes. I just think that's so odd. Now, I'm not talking about a motorcycle that used to be sold somewhere else, and now they've decided to sell it in a new market. Okay, that's not big news. You know, if they sell a Fat Boy, right? They've been selling Fat Boys for years and years, and then all of a sudden they decide to go and sell a Fat Boy in, I don't know, wherever. I don't know, whatever country. India, Saudi Arabia, whatever. They decide to go. I know they already sell them there, but regardless, if they particular country that's never seen a Fat Boy before, also now they're going to start selling it there. That isn't really news. That's just them opening up a new market to a model that they already sell. But here, two motorcycles, brand new, they've never sold before, they've never had this kind of relationship before, not in such a big overt way, and you're not advertising, you're not telling the rest of the world. I just find it really, really strange. I find it really strange. William, they need to function at a much smaller scale. Yep. The only Benellis I'm familiar with in the US are shotguns. And I tell you what, the Benellis make damn fine guns as well. Don't ask me how I know, but I know. If they want to go big, they need these cheaper products to make some mass market appeal. Yes, absolutely right. They will not succeed trying to upscale and mass market at the same time. No, I mean, they don't necessarily go in hand in hand. And certainly Harley Davidson, I don't believe, could have done this as the Harley Davidson American brand. They needed our outside help. And look, it's no surprise that they've gone to a Chinese motorcycle manufacturer, QJ Motor, and an Indian motorcycle manufacturer, Hero, to develop these bikes. There's no surprise there, because there's no way that they could do it themselves. It is at least 10 years before electric and will be cost effective enough to be mass market. Well, I think, again, it all comes down to pricing, doesn't it? And I think it could be that Harley Davidson as a company, they're saying, okay, well, we're not going to talk about too much of this. We're just going to see how this sells in a particular market, the Chinese market. So I wonder how many are being sold. I wonder if Harley Davidson will ever release that information. We should find out next year. We should find out with the Harley Davidson. See, this is the interesting thing. Will this show up on the Harley Davidson company records as motorcycle sales in Asia or in China, or will this show up as extra revenue of Harley Davidson branding? Because it could just be a branding deal rather than a motorcycle deal. And I'm just wondering whether this is something like that. That kind of would explain This is a real conspiracy theory bit here. So if anybody from Harley Davidson is listening, I appreciate the irony here that this this could be complete complete nonsense. This could be complete guesswork, because it is, right? But maybe the reason why they haven't announced it anywhere is because it's not really going to officially come under Harley Davidson sales. It will just be a licensing agreement, it will be a licensing agreement, a brand deal that they're just going to generate millions of dollars from. But it won't come under motorcycle sales. I would be, actually, the more I think about it, the more I think that could be the case. The more that kind of seems logical now that they're not talking about Harley Davidson. But no, but they can't. They can't. This is, okay, I've just thought about this again. This is an official Harley Davidson website from China. Look, this is Harley Davidson from China. So it definitely is that they're selling bikes under the Harley Davidson name. This isn't a brand deal. This is Harley Davidson bikes. These are Harley bikes. So if we definitely will know. Michael has it licensing to word out my mouth. I don't know. It could be. It could be some kind of it's got to be some kind of licensing branding deal. Look, I could be here all day supposing what this could be. Is it X? Is it Y? But I think we'll find out next year, won't we? When the end of financial year records come out. Well, actually, maybe we don't even have to find that, because they could release the first quarter results, second quarter results throughout this year, and we'll have a good idea if these bikes are selling, or because if we compare this year's sales to last year's sales for the Asian market or the Chinese market, and they're exactly the same, then you pretty much know that these bikes here are not being counted. But if there's a sudden spike, right, in bikes, they only sold 1,000, but now they've sold 40,000 because it's Chinese mass market, right? Then okay, hold on a minute, they're selling these bikes over there, right? But that still doesn't answer why they're not advertising it, why they're not telling the likes of you and I. William, how many folks are looking for a dip in the H-D stock with a quarterly announcement to buy in? Do you know what? The time to buy Harley stock was last year, or certainly early. Last year. That's the thing. That's the time when they should have bought it. Now it's gone up and up and up. But again, I read different reports from different financial publications, and there's always, I keep on talking about this in the past, but there's always a bit of positive, bit of negative, bit of positive highs and lows. They'd had the CFO that left the other day, resigned, and is going to, is it Hasbro or Haribo? I don't know, one of the two. It's going to there, and they're just saying it's a better deal for them, But the article I was reading said, are these rats sinking off rats jumping off a sinking ship? Are there more people? Why are they going? Why are people leaving? Is it all well in the Harley Davidson world? And I've talked about this in the past, and a lot of what I've talked about in the past comes from these financial articles, which I've read. Yes, they are opinion pieces, but they ask questions, and sometimes the questions are based upon financial projections and things like that. But again, this is a weird thing, right? Which I don't understand. So maybe somebody out there can, explain this to me. But none of the financial press have been talking about Harley Davidson in China. I just don't get it. I don't know if this is a political thing. I don't know if this is an they don't want to associate the Chinese economy with an American iconic brand. I don't think it would be something like that. I'd be very surprised if it is. Stephen, I suspect they want people to see the bikes first before telling everybody where they are made. They are probably nicely finished. Yeah, Michael Kozak, 37.55 US. Yeah, okay. Then it's dropped. It's dropped quite significantly because it was 50s, wasn't it? 50s a little bit a couple of weeks ago. I knew it was dropping, and there was a drop when the CFO left, and there's a couple of other factors that have made it dip again. I don't really pay that much attention to Harley stock, but look, you know, I think if it gets to I doubt it would drop less than 30, but if it got to less than 30, I think it will attract quite a few people. The one of the articles which I read this week was talking about the financial position of Harley Davidson and whether it was a true reflection of the company. And I don't know how it works, but they're basically saying that quite a few people have talked about this or mentioned it in comments as well, talking about Harley Davidson buying their own stock. And there was another company that did this. Now, what was it? It was some kind of Indian company, also Chinese company, or a Thai company, that the CEO had basically bought other companies or created other companies with the sole intention of buying stock. And that enabled the stock price to go up. So then the company could borrow money off that increased stock price, based upon increased stock price, the increased valuation of the company. And it's one big fraud, basically. It's just one big fraud. So people are saying, well, actually, is this happening to Harley Davidson? You know, how can they be performing so well? And if you kind of read between the lines in the Morgan Stanley interview, they were kind of questioning, well, not questioning, but, you know, they were saying, well, you know, is this a departure from Harley Davidson? Have they lost their way type thing? Have they gone in a completely different direction? I think they were a little bit surprised. You know, I think a lot of analysts are surprised the way Harley Davidson have performed. But interestingly, of everything that these financial bods, these financial analysts talk about Harley Davidson, none of them have mentioned this Chinese connection. None of them have mentioned these Chinese bikes from Harley Davidson. So it's a really odd one. It's a really odd one. You know, and I wish I had the answer for you. Michael Skidmore, H-D was buying their own stocks. Fortnite made a great video on this. The question is whether this is a legal process for them to do that, or companies to do that. A company can buy its own stock back. That seems logical, but it's whether they're doing it in an undisclosed way, and that's the illegal part of it. You know, so if you're creating shell companies, dummy companies, to go in and buy stock, then obviously that's going to be wrong. You know, buying your own stock sharp practice. It depends. If you sold your stock high and then you're rebuying it low, then you can sell it again for higher prices later on. Yeah. I was exploring H-D as a takeover target, but to my surprise, Hero in India only has 6.5 billion USD market cap. Not big enough to buy H-D. I don't know what Hero has on hand. Yeah, I'm not sure if they're right for a takeover. Yeah, it's. I mean, who knows? Who knows? I would have thought Hero was a lot bigger. H-D is 5.48. Is that US dollars? No, sorry, 5.4 billion US dollars. Yeah, yeah, that's right. And you know, you would imagine. I mean, again, this is an interesting year, 2023, in terms of finances. You know, of the sales, number of sales, physical number of sales going to go down? Don't know. Right across the board for big ticket items and big, larger motorcycles, the sales are definitely down. Not just Harley Davidson, I'm talking all over the world, or in terms of the total figure, as it were. But are they offsetting that with charging more for their bikes? Are they offsetting that with other activities? It'd be interesting. My suggestion is that the highly inflated stock price is an overinflation. It's an inflation based upon a reducing number of sales at a higher cost point, at a higher price point, that has enabled them to have increased revenue over the last year, 2 years. But I don't believe it's based upon the company doing better, selling more products. Now, I could be completely wrong. So the question of all this, for the last 2 or 3 years, I've been saying pretty much the same thing. You could only stretch the elastic band so far before it breaks. And it only takes external factors to go against you, and then all of a sudden you've got a bit of a problem. So this is where, and this is what I always said about Harley Davidson. Again, this is one of my big problems here with this. Because like I said, Harley Davidson never not selling cheap, inexpensive bikes for the new rider, inexpensive rider. And this is going to be a big hit to their financial status, especially if the market goes against them. If, prices go up and people can't afford it, right? So here we're in this perfect storm. We're in this perfect storm. Harley Davidson have reduced their cheap bikes, right? Or don't sell cheap bikes anymore. Okay, bear with me. Wait for me before you comment, right? They don't sell cheap bikes anymore. They're only selling really expensive bikes, and even more expensive bikes now. And, bikes are hitting £50,000 dollars shekels, which is, insane, really. But, 20, 30,000, 40,000 pound dollar shekel motorcycles. They're selling less. They have been having increased revenues, but will this next year mean that they're actually selling less and less, and their revenues suddenly drop, and they're suddenly dropping? The market suddenly realizes this is what's happening, and then all of a sudden their stock price starts to plummet as well. Stock price is already going down. Maybe this is an early indication, right? There's not a lot of confidence in the market. But let me wind this back now. They don't sell cheap motorcycles. Hold on, they do. They do in China. So maybe this is the way that they're going to try and recover their brand. But this is what I've been saying for years and years and years. This is the bike that they should be selling on a global scale. It doesn't matter that it doesn't sell in America. It doesn't have to be for the American market. But if this adds lots of pounds, dollars, shekels to their bank balance at the end of the year, then that's all that matters. So maybe obviously the analysts are all aware of this, the financial situations are all aware of this, but they're not quite sure how much of a success it's going to be. Therefore, we won't know until the end of the year. Yeah, there's an argument for just being in the high-end. BMW Motorrad is a prime example. Well, William, that's not true, because BMW sells small motorcycles as well. They sell 390s. They're in their Indian market. They've got tie-ups with Indian. I think it's TVS. They've just built their 1 millionth motorcycle in India, I believe, or something like that. So they do sell smaller motorcycles, and they sell cheaper motorcycles than Harley Davidson do. Now, okay, it depends where you are in the world, and it depends exchange rates and everything. So let's say in the US, you're probably going to pay more for a BMW motorcycle than potentially we would because of import taxes. Conversely, we pay a lot more for Harley Davidsons than you do in the United States because of import taxes as well. Michael, sorry. Harley doesn't pay higher prices on trades. Not trading bikes, yeah, probably not. Yeah, H-D should sell China bikes in the US too. Good beginner old man bike, yeah. As I say, I'm an old man bike. I could easily ride something like that. I'd be very happy. Couldn't care. You know, as long, you know, I don't care what anybody rides. I really don't. And my thing is, with any bike, with any machine, with any car, with everything, you should never buy something just that you think that you look cool in front of other people, that you think other people, right? It's, you know, what other people would think of you. Actually, you buy that and you ride it or you drive it, whatever it is, because you want to drive it. You like it. That's what you like, you know. Interesting on BMW, I live in the US, so they sell the big stuff, only a few low volume small bikes. Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt the money is in the big bikes, and there's no doubt in that. There's no doubt. If you're going to sell smaller numbers, you want to sell smaller numbers at a higher price, right? To get increased profits. The argument is that when people can't afford the big numbers, what are they left with? They're left with the manufacturers who sell smaller bikes, cheaper bikes. And guess what? Those manufacturers sell hundreds and hundreds and thousands and millions of these bikes. And the reason why the likes of Honda, and I keep on talking about places like Honda, the reason why they can have fun with their big sports bikes, with their, crazy invention bikes every now and again, is because they're selling the small bikes by the bucket load, and it's just fueling the whole economy. Fueling the whole company. Harley Davidson never had that. Maybe they do have this now with the X350 and now this X500 that's come out. Listen, all I can say is it doesn't look too bad. I don't hate it. It's an interesting look at producing a generic bike for the Chinese market. It looks very similar or very much the same as the Benelli and other bikes. Would it sell elsewhere? I think it would. Would they sell it? I don't know. I would like to think that they would, but who knows? Who knows? Anyway, guys, listen, I think I'm going to leave it there. It's an hour and 43, something like that. Crikey, that's quite a while, isn't it? Been rabbiting on. But listen, all I can say, it's... oops, wrong one. All I can say, it's Harley Davidson X500. Yes, it's the bike that, again, they're not telling you about. But hopefully you've seen it all here today. All I would say is go onto the Harley Davidson website. Go onto the Chinese Harley Davidson website. You'll see it. And then you can have a look at it yourself. But hopefully I've translated it enough for you so you get a good idea. And basically, as we say, it's a Benelli bike, really. All the questions. I think anytime these sorts of bikes come up, you're asking... I'm asking 100 million questions. Do you know what I mean? Asking a million questions as well, what about this? What about that? What are you doing? Where are you? What all these companies need their own undercover model. I completely agree. Thank you, interesting. Thank you, William. Thank you for your support as always. Michael, have a happy day. And what a lovely smiley face there. Thank you, Michael. I'm interested in seeing this bike. I think so. I would be interested. Harley Davidson, if you're watching, if you're listening, I would be interested in having a look at this bike. And if the price is right, I would be seriously interested in something like this. It wouldn't be my main bike. It wouldn't be my primary bike. It would be like a bike for, a commuter bike, let's say, or a bike that I would ride during the winter months, that kind of thing. Keep my main Harley, in garage, and just keep my all year round riding bike on this. I can see it. That would be for somebody like me. But somebody younger, somebody starting off, hasn't got a lot of money. Yeah. As long as you don't abuse the price points, as long as you don't, try to palm this off. So what people would be really hacked off with, you would be really pissed off if you try to sell this in Western markets and Europe and American markets as a Harley Davidson American motorcycle, American brand, because we know it's not. It's a Chinese branded Harley Davidson, for want of a better word, right? As long as they're honest with that, and as long as they're honest with the pricing of that, then I think they're onto a winner. If they're not honest with the pricing of that, if they try to pull the wool over your eyes, I think they'd have people like me pointing the finger at them straight away. So I would hope they did the right thing. They would do the right thing. At least come in at a competitive price or comparable price to any other similar sort of style bike. There we go. Right, anyway, all I can say is thanks very much for watching. It's been emotional as always. I'll be doing a live show at some point soon, I think. Yeah. I haven't done one for a week or so, so I thought it would come in today. Some news on this come out. I thought it was appropriate to come and talk about the X500. I'm sure there's going to be lots of videos out there talking about this bike now, all the specs and stuff like that. I won't make another one now, so I've talked about this enough. So, hey, all I can say is it's been emotional. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. And all I can say is, well, I'll catch you on the next live show. Video, short, coming very soon. Ta-da.